Good afternoon, my friends. I hope everyone is doing well. And so today we are going to test out the Solo Stove Mesa. And we're gonna just kind of check it out here on the trail, see how it performs, boiling some water or whatever. Now we'll say that this model of the Solo Stove isn't designed for backpacking cook stove. They have a couple models that are. I believe one's called the Light, one's called the Titan. The Light would be the backpacking version of the stove, but I was gifted the stove a few weeks ago for Christmas, and I just kind of was curious to see how it would do out here on the trail. I also brought along my MSR stove, gas stove, to do a little comparison. So yeah, just hang out with me and let's see how this thing does. All right, guys, so let's take a look at it. This is the bag that the stove comes in. Just to give you a little idea of some specs. It's a nice little bag. It's nice that it's black and it keeps the soot, off everything else in your bag. So this is how it comes. You can see I've burned a few fires in it. Yeah, so specs on this thing is 6 inches from top to bottom, 5 inches in diameter. The Light, I believe, is about a 1/2 inch both ways smaller. This unit right here comes with legs. The Light does not. I don't think you'd have to. You could save yourself a little bit of weight by not bringing the legs if you were backpacking and using this stove. It also comes with a pellet screen. There again, if you were backpacking and wanted to save a little bit of weight, you could discard both of those. But yeah, this is kind of what it looks like. If you haven't already seen these, I'm sure a lot of people are already familiar with the big stoves that people like to put around the house, and some people even take them to, overlanding campouts and stuff like that. But my only hang up with those, and kind of with even this small one, is it doesn't compact. You'd have to have a lot of space to be able to take that thing camping. But yeah, so far I like this. Like I said, we've burned a couple of small fires in it. But so let's put it together, and we'll harvest a little bit of fuel out here. I brought a little piece of fat wood so we could get some tinder going. I just threw this in my bug out bag, so I don't have any of my bushcraft tools. I've got my more survival type stuff with me, but that's okay. All we're doing is lighting a small fire, so. Lighter here. So, throw some fuel in there. Like I said, you have to have a pretty good little supply. Ideally, you want to be able to put the ring on. That's what makes the fires, smokeless. The pit smokeless. So, yeah. All right, my friends, we have got the Solo Stove Mesa burning pretty good. Yeah, we're gonna have to let it burn down a little bit to do our little comparison on boiling water. We want to get that below the rim so we can put this on. Now, I sort of played around at the house with some of my mess kits and stuff like that to see if it would actually fit. The way that the actual Solo Stove Light works is there is a piece of metal that comes up where oxygen can get inside and up under that fire. The Mesa doesn't have that. So if you put your kit or your pot or whatever straight on there, it's gonna smother it. So you're gonna have to leave a little bit of area for the oxygen to get in there. Like I mentioned before, I brought my MSR pocket rocket out here too to do a little side-by-side comparison. Now, we all can look at this and tell that A, it's lighter, B, it's more compact, but is it more reliable? So we'll get to that. Let's boil some water soon. All right, kind of getting down there to where we can actually put the top on. So, see, that's pretty cool. The smoke just disappeared when you put that ring on. It just makes everything, I mean, there's a little bit of residual smoke, but okay. So, let's do our comparison. Let's fire up the gas stove, and we'll put them side by side at a little head-to-head. All right, brought two little pots out here. So, put the small pot on the solo stove. The gas stove is a lot louder. So we're just gonna do a few ounces each. Like I said, we've got to leave a little bit on the side there so we don't smother the fire. Okay, the same amount of water in both. The gas stove is at a rapid boil, and the solo stove with the fire, full fire underneath it, is hasn't made it there yet. So I think we can see clearly that, and I turned the gas off on the pocket rocket, but yeah, I mean, the thing about these little solo stoves, or any kind of backpacking stove that uses natural materials, you're not going to be in any hurry. This is not going to be a quick little stop on the side of the trail to fix lunch or fix a cup of coffee. It's not ideal for that. All right, let's talk about some pros and cons of this unit with regards to hiking and backpacking. And does it make a good little cook stove? So I would say that the pro with a stove like this is, or the number one pro to me, is just the endless amount of material that you can burn. Unless you live somewhere like the desert or the tundra, somewhere really wet, then this kind of cook stove would not be, what you're looking for. I would also say that with that is the reliability of it. I know that sometimes with the gas stoves, at least from my experience, I've had trips where, the gasket and the on the stove and the gas bottle didn't really connect good, and you didn't really get a good burn. It took forever to boil, a little pot of water or whatever. So you're not going to have that with this. Now, like I mentioned before, this model isn't necessarily designed for backpacking, because the models that have the metal ring. I've mentioned that. So that would be the number one pro. I think another pro is the durability of the canister itself. Down in your pack, it's just not going to get beat up. I mean, it's no nonsense. It's just a few pieces. But yeah, I mean, that's nice to know. I mean, like I mentioned before, sometimes these little gas stoves aren't the most durable things on the market. And then I think that lastly, as far as pros are concerned, is the warmth from it. So today is pretty pleasant. It's about 45, 46 degrees, so it's not awfully cold out here. But if I was out here today and it was in the 20s, there was snow on the ground, that would provide a little bit of heat, more so than a gas stove. So let's take a look at the cons, and believe me, there are a lot of cons. So I think the number one con, and I'm not a super duper backpacker guy. I actually used to go more often than I do now, but the weight of this is not really what backpackers are looking for, especially long distance backpacking. It comes in at about 1.3 pounds. Now that is with the that is counting the pellet filter, which, like I said, you could leave off. The legs you could leave off. That would save a little bit of weight, but weight and size both. You know, that pocket rocket, MSR pocket rocket, this is the container for it. This is how small this stove is compared to this stove. Now, obviously, I have to connect it to a gas canister, so there's a little bit of size, but this is big for something like, you know, boiling a little bit of water or something like that. So weight and size, probably number one con. Another con is the amount of time that's spent getting the fire started. Also, if you're bugging out really quick and you just want to heat up some water, you actually have to wait till this thing cools down as well before you put it back in your pack. Something to consider. So that's kind of a major con right there. Another con is just the amount of fuel for something this size. The way these solo stoves are designed, with the air circulating in there, it burns fuel really, really fast. So with that said, you know, keep in mind that when you do start a little fire, I mean, I had, just for this little demonstration, I had a big amount of timber right here, and I mean, you know, it's almost gone. And I've only been out here, you know, half hour, 45 minutes. So another con there is keeping that thing going. I actually do like the little device. Now, I will say, I'm going to continue to use gas stoves just because of the convenience. You know, these are fun to mess around with. I'll probably take it on some trips. I tell you what, it's really cool. I can imagine, like, on family camping trips, you know, with the picnic table, it would be nice little extra heat. Sometimes when you're having dinner in late fall and you're camping and you know, the fire's 20 feet away from you, it gets a little chilly around the table. So something like this in the center of the picnic table would be kind of fun. And so that's kind of where I'm going with this little thing. So but anyway, comment and let me know if you've used anything like this on your adventures. I'd be interested to hear if anybody actually has the light. I'd like to hear about its performance and boiling water. I'm sure that that little demonstration I did there, I'm sure that the light, because of the design of it, would boil water a lot faster than that did. I just pretty much choked the fire out a lot of times by setting that pot on top of there. So yeah, you know, so yeah, let me know. I'd be interested. So I'm gonna sit here and enjoy this little time out here. It's a beautiful day. So hope you gathered something from the video and enjoyed the testing. So with that said, you guys have a great day. Peace.